Hi, my name is Don Baldamecca. I'm doing a presentation for CSC 340. I've chosen the topic of finite state machines, specifically the Mealy model versus the Moore model. Okay, what is a finite state machine? A finite state machine is a mathematical model that depicts an abstract machine in one of a finite amount of states at a given time. It displays a model of a function of a system describing the output and the function with given inputs. The model uses circles to represent states of a machine and arcs to represent transitions from state to state using certain inputs. The models used to represent finite state machines are the Mealy model and Moore model. Basically, it is a physical depiction of a state of a circuit at any given time and how the circuit can change states under the right conditions. The Mealy model. Mealy models use both input and current state to determine the output. In this depiction, the state values are 0, 0, 0, 1, and 1, 0. The arc values determine the input, followed by the output. In this model, you'll see that the output of 1 only occurs when the current state is 1, 0, and the input is 1. So Mealy machine models are best used for circuits that use their current state as an input, along with actual inputs to determine what the output will be, and what it also determines what the next state will be. All right, so this is the Moore model. The Moore model uses only current state to determine the output. Again, in this model, we use 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, and 1, 1 as state values. And again, the arc values denote inputs, but the outputs are actually within the state circles. So you'll notice that in this model, that the only time you have an input of 1 is with the state 1, 1. So Moore machines are best used for circuits that only rely on their state. So regardless of um, whatever input it is, the output value will always be what is the value under the state. Um, so if your circuit is in the current state of 1, 0, the output value will be 0 regardless if the input is 0 or if the input is 1. However, the input value will change the state. And you'll notice that in um, this arc, regardless if the input is 0 or 1, the state of 1, 1 will always have an input value or output value of 1, but the next state can change to 0, 1 or 0, 0 depending on that input. In conclusion, the Mealy model uses both input and current state to determine output as well as its next state. The Moore model only uses the current state, which displays the output value below the current state within the circle, and it uses the input value to determine its next state. Choosing between which to use is determined by how important the inputs are into determining the outputs. If inputs are used as well as the current state, then the Mealy model should be used. But if only the current state is important when determining output, then the Moore model should be used. Okay, that's been my presentation. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.